You know, a lot has been said about the new Ghostbusters movie. For example, that it's a good movie, which it is. That it inspires young girls, which it does. That it pisses off many men, which is good. But I don't hear that many people talking about how it's quite representative for a lot of women older than that, you know, in their 20s or 30s. So Abby didn't go to Columbia University or apparently did like a very impressive PhD kind of stuff. But what I really like about Abby is that she's really intelligent and contrary to most people who are smart, she's very patient. For example, Benny slash Depinder from Deadpool keeps on messing up her takeout order from the Chinese restaurant. By the way, taxi driver, Chinese restaurant deliverer, he wasn't even the right kind of Asian. He really needs a career update. So he keeps on consistently messing up the amount of wontons or the amount of, I don't know, shrimp in her soup and whatever. But she is exasperated, but she never gets angry. So I kind of thought a shitstorm would happen, you know, as soon as they got back from the mayor's office and, you know, the weird mayor's assistant. I thought that they would get into a big fight when Abby confronts Aaron, like, why did you do that? And finally, these two worlds collide where both women kind of deal with being underestimated and being bullied and hated in such a different way, because Abby kind of went her different way and, you know, never really stopped to think about why the kids were bullying her. They just kind of thought, you know, they do their thing and I do mine. Whereas Aaron is one of those women, what I kind of relate to, who always, you know, look at the glass ceiling above them, always look at, you know, how people perceive them and how they can do their best to kind of fit in. A lot of intelligent women who get really far in their career, they kind of have this inferiority complex and they kind of have the feeling that, you know, they're not really here for a very legit reason. They're kind of like, okay, I got so far with some weird stroke of luck, but, you know, I could be kicked off the club in no time. Erin still has this feeling that she needs other people to validate her. And then throughout the movie she kind of changes and, you know, she acts completely ridiculous during the end because she realizes, I just need to do me and I don't need recognition from everyone. I just need recognition from myself and the people that I care about. Maybe it's because, you know, as a psychiatry doctor, I really tend to analyze people and not necessarily to put a label on them, but kind of to place their behavior, think of where it might have come from and how to deal with it appropriately. I mean, she was gay as hell, which I loved. She was really awkward at flirting, which I loved even more. But apart from just her being a hot lesbian, she really seemed to me like she showed a lot of autistic tendencies and a lot of autistic traits. And I don't mean that as an insult, because I think autism isn't an insult. The chaotic way that she tended to think and tend to talk, tend to kind of socialize with people, but also the way that she walks and the way that she moves and, you know, all of that kind of fitted in with the idea that she might be autistic. And then during the end of the movie, she suddenly stands up, and the way that she shows kind of sudden, unexpected affection in her body language, but also the way that she talked and that she so sincerely showed a lot of intense, genuine emotion. Like, you know, for me to live life is to love, and you guys taught me how to love, is quite an intense emotion. And a lot of neurotypical people would feel kind of embarrassed to say that or think, you know, the setting or the context is really wrong. But she just kind of went for it, which kind of more implemented this idea in my head that she could be autistic, because autistic people, it's not like they don't love, or, you know, a lot of autistic people kind of tend to experience love or experience emotion in a more intense way, but they just have trouble, you know, showing it to other people in a way that other people can kind of relate to it. So I thought it was really endearing and really interesting that Kate McKinnon kind of chose to portray the character that way. And I hope a lot of autistic people in the audience kind of realize, like, yeah, you know, she's intelligent, she's academically, you know, successful in a way. I mean, she's really smart, she made all this insane kind of equipment with, you know, the budget that they had to work with. And she had a lot of friends. And it's very interesting and very telling that until Abby, she couldn't really form proper friendships. That, you know, kind of tends to happen with outcasts and people who have a certain type of psychological thinking that doesn't really fit in with, you know, the conventional type of people. And Patty was just amazing. Honestly, I watched it with a friend, and when we were cycling home, she kind of went, you know, I liked the movie, but I was kind of disappointed in the way that they represented the only female black character in the movie, because she kind of, you know, she's kind of like this sassy, streetwise kind of character. And I honestly didn't agree, because she read a lot of nonfiction, because she just looked up a lot of literature. She knew a lot about architecture, about art history, about, you know, the way that the city has a very extensive history behind it before it became New York. So that's not streetwise. She is really, really intelligent, and she proves to everyone that she really is a legit Ghostbuster. And another thing, and that's a thing a lot of people make jokes about, white people really don't know how to deal with the supernatural. They don't know how to deal with ghosts. As soon as something goes wrong, they just walk right into the trap. Just like Garrett, that freaking idiot at the beginning, just walks down to the cellar. How dumb are you, honestly? And just Abby and Aaron also tend to do this thing when they know something is coming, they know a ghost is coming, they just kind of go like, no, just walk away, back the F off. That is how you do it. I mean, honestly, after a while, I mean, wouldn't really help to, you know, take her close to dry cleaning, but I wasn't feeling sorry for Erin at all at a certain point, even though she got slimed all the time. Part of it was largely her fault. Just get out of the way. That's what Ludacris told you. And they kind of solved their conflicts in such a gracious way, you know. They never, you know, start fighting with each other, screaming at each other. They're really well balanced. You don't have that arc in the movie, the character arc, where someone becomes less of an asshole. Speaking about assholes, I found Kevin just as sweet as endearing as everyone else, but I think Kevin really is the kind of male character that you encounter a lot in your life. The kind who is really nice, has the best of intentions, but just really needs to step up his game. The thing that I found very telling, not that he was dumb or that he was bad at his job, but the fact that he didn't feel any remorse for it, he didn't feel any responsibility for doing his job well, and in the end he just kind of shows up with a sandwich and then claims to have taken part in this big mission that the girls pulled off. Just by showing up at a certain point. He was like, I was kind of there, so I think we all collectively did it together. No, whether it was Kevin or Martin Hayes, Bill Murray's character, who was just a non-believer who tried to debunk myths but never thought of researching it themselves. The cab driver, who didn't even want to stop 2 blocks from where Aaron wanted to go. All the men could have helped, but the thing is, they just couldn't be bothered to try. So I think that's the one thing that little girls and boys could learn from this movie, is just try your best. And if your best is not enough, either try to accept it or try, you know, to get the best out of you that you can give. It's not that hard, honestly.